Hey everybody, Konaji here. Welcome back to the Mindcrack server for the 106th time. Today we are actually going to wrap up the project on the Cone's Garage part of the Cone Abode. And honestly, I think for at least the moment, this might be a wrap up of the entire Cone Abode project. I don't know that there's anything else that I'm immediately thinking about doing over here. Don't you worry, I got other ideas. I got other things that I want to work on, but I know for a fact that the guano farm is nearing completion. It's not complete, but within, I would say, weeks, they will be doing the big reveal, which will just be, I suppose, running the wheat farm and trying to crash the server. And for that, I presume, I hope, let's say I hope, that there's going to be some people joining, and hopefully they make it like a group celebration over there. And yeah, I want the base to look nice, since we are the closest base to that area. That was indeed the whole reason that I decided to build over here. I liked the spot, I liked the mountain, but more than anything, I wanted to locate my base near where they were, because the main reason that, well, maybe not the main reason, but one reason we were invited to play on the server here was so that it seemed like a server to them again. And as they were working on their project over there, there was actually some activity. Unfortunately, recording schedules don't really meet or match up, so I'm very rarely on when they are on, but hopefully they've at least enjoyed seeing the progress over here. And as people come and go from the server and visit and whatnot, it's nice for people to have somewhere new to go, something new to see. On Monday, for Mindcrack Mondays on Twitch, actually, Arcus joined us late there. I ended up streaming a little bit long. We got into a discussion with Arcus, and that turned into Arcus joining the server, and I did a tour of his base, and I'd never actually seen his mansion on the server. It looks really nice. It's actually quite a good build that I had completely missed, because I did not see him building it. I did not personally follow along with his live streams during that era. Arcus is actually a little bit new to me, so yeah, I had missed his build over there, and it was really nice. It was really nice. But today, yeah, let's work on cleaning the place up a little bit. I got all these chests laying around. I got a little tidying up I want to do up front. So let me start with that. Let me grab as much dirt as I have here. That should do it. Get out of here, arrow. I'm always collecting more arrows than I need. Honestly, all I need is the one. All I ever need is one arrow. So I'm going to throw all of them on the ground. That way, as I collect arrows, they'll just go into that stack. That makes more sense. All right. So hopefully those despawn. So today is, I'm actually recording this on Friday. Much later than my usual or my scheduled recording time. I've been doing pretty darn good at following my schedule. Let me turn sounds down real quick, because placing grass has to be, oh, that's the wrong thing, one of the loudest things to do in Minecraft. Alright, there we go. A little bit quieter. Yeah, I've been doing pretty darn good at following my schedule, and I tried really hard to make it a schedule that was something that was achievable, something that was physically possible. And this week actually marks the first time since I started the schedule that I ran into an issue. I think that's due to some environmental issues. Issues twice there, I guess. Yeah, on Tuesday I was doing the automation stream, which is, hold on, sleep and get a drink because of the thing I'm about to talk about. So yeah, on Tuesday, for the automation stream. Certainly one of our bigger streams of the week. Certainly one of the things that I've been doing that I think the community probably gets most excited about. So yeah, it's certainly something very important to me. But for whatever reason, that's a strenuous stream on me. It was really bad because the streams were taking so long. Like, it was turning into 5-6 hours of on the mic time. But yeah, I reduced it down, and this week was only 3 hours. But I ended up to not be terribly graphic. But warning, this is a little bit graphic. I basically I tore the part of my vocal cords that are messed up, and this is an ever-present danger for me. This is, and I've talked about this in far too many videos at this juncture. Most everybody knows about it, and most people don't like to hear about it. But it seems to be a problem with this time of year, when spring hits and everything starts going all polleny. Not only that, we've got hit with a dry spell. I live in Florida. It's usually very, very humid here, and when it suddenly goes to 15% humidity, like we had on Tuesday and Wednesday, our bodies here in Florida don't know how to respond to that. They, it's just not, it's not the norm. So it felt very, very dry, and that might have been a factor into what happened there. But yeah, I personally had to cut that stream a little bit short. I actually was intending to stream for at least another hour or so, because I had more things that I wanted to do with people's cars. I was going to do the camper thing that I did in video. I was going to do all of that on stream, but obviously I realized that problems were happening, and I guess the positive there is I am able to recognize when that's an issue now. Like, I think before I really understood what was going on there, this is probably enough grass, it looks fine. Before I really understood what was going on physically, I thought, I thought it was just something, I don't want to say mentally, but I thought it was just something, just part of the way that I, like, maybe genetically how I was. I don't know how to explain it, but before I really understood what was going on physically, it was harder for me to, I guess, work around it and fully understand how to prevent, damage and stuff like that. So I suppose I'm better off now. What did I just do? I just dropped a pickaxe on the ground in exchange for nether bricks. Not smart. I'm gonna put all this stuff in the basement. Might as well use the basement for something, right? Yeah, that is a bummer. It's certainly not enjoyable, and trust me, it's not a great feeling. If you were watching on Tuesday, there was a point where I kind of abruptly left, because the feeling I get, I'm going to try my best to describe this in ways that is not disgusting, but I am very sorry. I'm very sorry if it ends up being so. But the feeling actually is similar to that of, no, I want the chests. Thank you. Of, guess, like having something stuck in your throat, but it almost feels more like the swelling you would expect from, like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm gonna butcher this word. I don't know exactly how to say it, but like anaphylactic shock. Is that the right kind of I turned blank now. I'm not sure that that's the exact right pronunciation of that, but you know what I'm talking about. Where it's like a swelling inside of your throat, and I get it where I feel it as I'm talking. Oh wait, I should have placed things in chests. Yeah, I get it, like, as I'm speaking, and that's when I can realize that things are going awry. So that was that. That's why I'm off schedule for the week. But I'm well. First off, I'm okay. Like it's not like a big terrible thing, or it's not even that big of a deal. It's just it's a nuisance. It's something to work around on what has been a pretty hard couple of weeks anyway. Things have been frustrating lately, and that's certainly a secret. We got into a conversation on Mindcrack Monday though, and it started with I believe what I titled it as resets, because I was kind of a little bit talking about the concept of like server resets when it comes to Minecraft, when it comes to Mindcrack. Always have been is that open? No, it does not. A subject of controversy. Some people really hate server resets. Some people really like server resets. I tend to be on the side of I like kind of an annual-ish style of reset. I enjoy the fresh start periods. So for me personally, it's difficult when people have the opinion of not liking resets, because I always feel a little bit stuck. You know, I feel restricted from being able to do. Let me just drop everything, absolutely everything, and I'll come through and organize these later. Yeah, I'll do it later. You trust me, right? You believe me. You don't believe me, do you? You shouldn't. But no, yeah, I enjoy the reset aspect. I like having one build area on a server. Like, after I was done with this area, there's certainly more I could do over here, and I could continue to expand this for longer. I wouldn't say that I'm totally done at this juncture, but you know, we're getting there. But once I decided that I was done here, me personally, I would want that fresh start at that point. You know, I want the new server, I want the new terrain and what have you. Obviously, not everybody necessarily feels that way, and I understand. Like, it's silly. It's really silly, even on my part, because if I want a fresh start, if I want a fresh, you know, location, just move. Like, it's an infinite world. Just pack up your crap and move. Start somewhere new. But it's just not the same. It's not the same for me. And all I can ever say to people that you know, don't understand that is, I'm sorry. It's just not the same. It is not the same to me to just like pack up and move somewhere. But I think it's a little bit different for this versus what it used to be like, because this does not really function as a populated server currently. This certainly functions more as a single player world now. But that being said, you know, single player worlds you start whenever you darn will please. So it's weird. But I figure the topic's gonna come up. When they're done with Guano Farm, I don't expect Good and Jeff to continue playing on the server, and I'd like them to. You know, I'd like more people to. We'd all like more people to, I believe. So the topic's going to happen. The topic is going to come up. And I think the time for it to come up will probably be when... I think I'm going to put this in the main base. The topic will probably come up when the next big Minecraft update comes out, because they're talking about some terrain and world gen changes. So it makes probably the most sense to everybody to do it then. So I don't want to say hopefully, but we'll see. We'll see if that inspires maybe a a change in opinion there. We'll just have to see. But I went much further with the whole reset thing, as I commonly do. You know, I take one little idea and then I expand it to all of life. Alright, let me sleep off the night here. So I realize now that I had chests up here already, but I never finished it. I never put another chest there. But now I have chests in the basement full of crap, and chests up here that have nothing in them. Aesthetic. They're aesthetic. I also never covered these, and I was thinking about doing that. I know I was originally intending to cover the sides of those, and I think I still do intend to do that. Let me see if I have some of those birch trapdoors. So yeah, I got into talking about how in the real world, in everyday life, I also commonly like to do resets. I like to change things up. Maybe not as major. Maybe not as I don't want to say permanent, but just not as inclusive. Like I'll change up some small detail all the time. Like I'm always changing the little details, and I guess it's just a drive inside of me. It's something that's always brewing inside of me, is that I feel the constant desire for change. And I got into the discussion of how you know, it feels like my generation isn't pushing for the parental separation nearly as much, and in that there isn't as much drive to you know, kind of form your own life, your own existence and whatnot. You know, start from scratch. I don't feel like people do that as much, and that was an interesting discussion, and a lot of perspectives there. How, you know, that's kind of a new idea. The idea of starting new is not, or you know, starting your own life away from your parents is actually not something that historically made sense. Historically, it made sense to stay with your family. You would live with multiple generations for a long time. That's not a perspective that I ever had. That never seemed like the quote-unquote right way to me. That always felt like the wrong way. Like, to me, that feels like you're a leech. You know, you're a parasite on the people that you know, helped raise you. It's always been in my mind that it's your responsibility to move on. It's your responsibility to you know, start your own book instead of just writing into theirs. But clearly that's not always been the case, or that's not always the norm, as much as it felt like it was to me, which is interesting. Certainly a very interesting, differing perspective than what I had. I still fight that desire all the time. Like I'm always pushing to do something different. I'm always pushing to not necessarily completely reset or anything like that, but I'm always pushing to change things up. And increasingly lately, I have been kind of pushing for a reset, you know, pushing to do something crazy and different. And I tie that into my personal feelings towards lack of success. You know, if it feels like I'm not successful in what I'm doing, then obviously I need to change what I'm doing. I need to do something else. And boy howdy, did that go into a big tangent on Monday about success. And honestly, it's one of the things that I just can't figure out how to agree with people on. This seems like one of those opinions that I personally don't share with people. I don't have the same mindset as most, which could mean that I'm wrong. It could mean I'm just, you know, different. I think differently. Could mean any of these things, but I don't agree with the mindset of you can't measure your success by comparing yourself to others, or basically even broader than that. It seems like the general opinion is you aren't allowed to measure your own success at all. Like you aren't in the position to do that, and you can't personally call yourself a failure at success. And I don't agree with that. I have always measured my own success. I've always been willing to admit that something I've done or something I'm doing is failing, or I have failed at something. That's another one of those things where like, whoops. That's just, you know, the way that I'm coded. I feel that's that's the way that I conduct myself, and it's actually something that I feel is important to me. I feel like it's important to me to be able to recognize when I'm failing at things so that I can recognize where I need to improve. And it's kind of strange to me that the general attitude or the general perception that I was getting, oh wait, I was down there to get glass, was that it's bad. It's bad to call yourself unsuccessful. It's bad to call yourself, you know, a failure, say, at certain things. Versus, I think it's pretty darn important to. You know, I think it's pretty important to be able to measure success. Now, I could see that playing out both ways. I could see that being a negative, especially if you're as relentless about it as I am, where sometimes I'm way too harsh on myself. You know, sometimes I feel like I can stunt my own development by getting so hung up on, you know, defining my failure versus success rates and things. So yeah, that's one of those things that goes both ways. But I think it's okay. I think it's okay to call yourself a failure at something. I think it's okay to measure your own success and to measure your success against others. The way that I measure my success, and this is the same way that I told people that I measure my success on Monday, that drew, I think, a negative connotation, is that if I feel like I'm happy, if I feel like if I can go day to day without feeling stressed, then I'm successful at what I'm doing. If I go day to day and what I do ends up making me feel stressed or making me feel like, well, basically just unsuccessful, then I'm not doing the right thing. Like if I wake up in the morning and I think that you know, it's another day of struggle, then what I'm doing isn't working. I need to get to the point where I wake up and feel inspired. I need to wake up where I feel like I'm, you know, ready to tackle and ready to move forward and do what needs to be done. And lately, and frankly for a long time, that just hasn't been the case. The part that felt the worst, though, this doesn't feel the worst. The part that felt the worst is when I let myself get rutted. And what I mean there is, there was 10 years or so that, well, let's say 5 years of that all I did was work. All I did was work my crappy job that I absolutely hated. No mistaking about it there. No exaggeration. I hated my job. I hated my living situation. There was just absolutely nothing that I really enjoyed. The only thing that was, you know, keeping me going was the fact that I was making enough money that I could blow it on things like, you know, buying and selling and fixing cars, and it was, you know, a hobby to keep me going. But it wasn't overall rewarding. You know, it wasn't something that felt like I was accomplishing anything, really. And if I did accomplish it, I didn't have anyone to share the accomplishments with. You know, it was just me. And so even though it was more sustainable, even though I was, you know, I'll say, I don't want to say wealthier, but I was better off, I wasn't happy. I certainly wasn't happy. I didn't feel like I was going anywhere. I didn't feel like I was doing anything. So it wasn't, at the end of the day, a good fit for me to be doing that. Well, changeover, the big, you know, the big change, like I was talking about earlier, the big reset, was that I quit that job and started doing this stuff full time. It really wasn't that big of a reset, though. I think people might overestimate how big of a reset that was, because all I did was basically close myself in a box even further. You know, I gave myself less of an existence in order to make this feasible. You know, I cut out a large majority of the fun in my life in order to be able to afford doing that. So it wasn't like a big, you know, I'm moving and I'm moving to bigger and better things or anything like that. It was just a reduction in size of my footprint in order to be able to afford to do that. So it didn't really feel like a big change to me. I was still doing basically the same thing I was doing before. I just cut out the part. Oh, that's why I can't have that there. I just cut out the part that I didn't like. Obviously, I don't do that job anymore. I don't have to deal with that stuff anymore, and that's been a positive. You know, it's been something that I'm happy about. But it's not. I don't have another column. I do. It's not been earth-shattering by any means. It's not like completely reconfigured my entire life. My life now is very, very similar to my life before. I'm just working towards something better. I feel like I have a goal that I believe in now. Even though maybe it's harder every day to believe in it, but it still feels better than the nothing that was before. So that was the big move there. But it wasn't necessarily some big crazy reset. And just because I did that, it didn't mean I was successful at it. It didn't mean that I felt like I had done something successful. That has yet to be seen. As of now, I don't think it has been a success because I've not pushed out of the box I was in before. I'm still in essentially the same box as before, where like I said, I just reduced what my life was in order to pursue this dream of mine. And it's still yet to be seen, really, if that's going to pay off or not. So far, it hasn't. And I'm, I have the ability to recognize that, and I think that's okay. For me personally, it just feels okay to feel like I'm not successful, I guess. Because it doesn't mean I will always be unsuccessful. It just means I'm unsuccessful right now. The tricky part there is, well, when will I? Will I ever? Will I be able to recognize that things have gotten better? Because when things change slowly, it's very difficult to realize that things changed at all. That's a whole nother cookie to crumble. It's more difficult to realize that things have gotten better when things change very slowly. And there may come a time 2 years down the road when I'll be doing, we'll say I'm doing, much better monetarily. I've started to introduce some fun stuff back into my life, and I'm starting to branch out again and feel, comfortable. But if that change happens really slowly, you know, will I have the wherewithal to realize that it changed? You know, will I realize that things are better, or will the challenges of that present moment override that success? You know, will I fail to feel like I'm further than I was? That's a big part of it. You know, that's a big responsibility of mine to be able to recognize that, and hopefully I'll be able to do that. Hopefully, we'll see. Well, by golly, I think that's all the chests and random miscellaneous stuff around here. So the base looks really good, and you should be able to walk in a full loop around at this point. It feels like maybe I should put a sign over here so that people realize this is all one base. Yeah, let me grab a sign and I'll put one over here. Because you never know. You never know. Like, I had no idea Arcus' base was here, and if I had just walked upon it, I probably would have had no idea whose it even was. So it is nice to sign your builds. Hopefully there is some kind of big server celebration for the unveiling of the Guano Farm. And we'll see. We'll see if there's a reset in our future. I'm certainly all for it right now. I would really enjoy that. There's enough time has passed that I feel like people are really going to jump on it. It's not going to be permanent. It never is. Anytime there's a reset and people join the server, people are always like, well, long before blah 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 quits doing this. Yeah, that happens. There's an initial rush of excitement, and then it tapers off. Don't be mad that it tapers off. Don't be mad. Be happy that it happened at all. That's my perspective. Don't be mad that your favorite TV show got canceled after 4 seasons. Be happy that you got 4 seasons and you got an experience that you enjoyed. That's just the way I look at things, I guess. There. Does that make sense? Yeah, it'll make sense. Alright. I think that'll do it for today. Enough rambles. I didn't lose my voice yet. I still have to do F1 today. So, I should probably wrap it up. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.